Where were we yesterday? We were talking about Cyrus, right? Cyrus the Great, and how those 4 or 5 stories where Cyrus the Great goes off and he fights. I gotta get rid of these. Um, he fights against that lady. He also does. We got Croesus, Midas touch. We got Belshazzar down there in Babylon. So we had a lot of stuff with Cyrus. Now we're down to Cambyses. Cambyses is one of Cyrus's sons. Now, pay attention to that name of that stone. I don't have it in the presentation, but the Histone stone, I do have some pictures of it, and I want to talk to you guys about that too. Cambyses II. Okay, Cyrus's dad was named Cambyses, and so his son is named Cambyses II. Now, Cambyses was. You think that Cyrus's stories are kind of cool. Cambyses has some really cool stuff. Now, as a kid, he was named the king of Babylon. Now, Cyrus kept the king of the lands, but once Cyrus died, Cambyses II got the king of the lands title too. So now he ruled Babylon, there's the Hanging Gardens, and the king of the lands, all the territory around it. Now, his younger brother, very interesting stories on his younger brother. Okay, Cyrus had more than one wife, but both Cambyses and his younger brother, let me turn my ringer off, it's going to go off all day. His younger brother was Smerdis, also known as Bardiya. And there's actually going to be a third name for this kid in a little bit too. But when Cyrus died, he gave Cambyses the main territory. He gave him Persia, Babylon, all those lands. And he gave Bardiya a small territory off to the east, probably about where he was killed, up in that territory. And so he looked out for his younger son, but he also gave Cambyses the lion's share. Now, think about being a king. If you have absolute power, you can do whatever you want. What does that do to you, and how does it interact with you? Because Cambyses, he was born into this. Okay, Cyrus stepped into it, and so he had some abilities when he stepped into it. Cambyses is born into it, and so he has to be trained to do it the right way. But it just does change your perspective. Okay, if you're born into a royal family, how's that going to affect you? What do you look at? And so Cambyses is born expecting to rule, and he does rule. And as he comes into his own power, he does take up some of his dad's old projects, like the Conquest of Egypt. Now, I'm trying not to smile because this is really not appropriate, but his first battle with Egypt at 525 BCE, the Battle of Pelusium. Legend has it, we don't know for sure, but legend has it that he uses cats. It's not funny, but it is funny. He uses cats to attack this city because the Egyptians, one of their gods is Bastet, a cat. And so this picture is really bad because it's throwing me off really badly because those are cats flying through the air. The legend actually says they tied cats to their shields, and so the Egyptians wouldn't shoot at them. I don't think they actually threw cats at the city, but it's an interesting picture, and not very nice. But the Egyptian archers, people looked at this in the past. They aren't sure if it happened or not, but legend is that Cambyses tied cats to their shields, and so the Egyptian archers wouldn't shoot their bows and arrows at them, or their arrows at them. And so when they went to war, one story said it had 50,000 Egyptian soldiers killed and only 7,000 Persian soldiers, which would be a very lopsided victory. And so it's possible, I don't know. But Cambyses also takes his army and he tries to attack the oasis town of Siwa. And he takes his soldiers across the desert, and a huge sandstorm blows up and buries them. Now, one story I saw said that his lost army has been discovered, but I don't know if that's been verified or not. And so it'd be fascinating to find out if Cambyses' lost army has been found. But in 2009, there's an NBC story that says that they had found him, and I haven't looked at that one too closely yet. Now, when Cambyses returned from losing his soldiers, the Egyptian nobles were laughing at him because of his misfortune, or so he thought. Okay, they may not have been. They may have just been having a celebration and didn't know that he had lost all these soldiers. But to get his revenge, Cambyses, I just had a nasty thought. You guys might want to get your revenge for me laughing at him using cats. So what would you do? I don't want to think about it. That'd be mean. But what Cambyses did is he took the sons and daughters of 2,000 nobles, and he brought these nobles into it for a big banquet. And then he had the daughters serve everyone their food, which was a huge indication that all the daughters were now slaves. Then he brought the sons in and had them all executed in front of the noble families. And so people saw how he treated them. He was very harsh, very cruel. Now, another thing he did is one of the objects of worship the Egyptians had was the Apis bull. And he took the Apis bull and stabbed it in the leg. And some stories said he killed it. Other sources say that the Apis bull lived on and wasn't harmed badly. But that would be a huge insult to the Egyptian religion and to the noble families if he had done that. And so the Egyptians didn't like him very much. Now, at the same time, he gets word that his brother Smerdis, or Bardiya, has retaken the capital of Susa. And so Susa is the capital of Persia. It is a ways away. So Cambyses mounts up and heads back for home to make sure he can defend his reign. Now, here's where the story gets a little bit strange, and it's an awesome story. No more cats, though. Cambyses leaves to go battle his brother, but on his way home, he says that there's this guy, Gaumata, who's a Magian or a priest, a Magi, who has taken control of the body of Bardiya or Smerdis. Now, Gaumata kills anyone who discovers that he is not the real Smerdis or Bardiya. Now, on his return, Cambyses jumps on his horse somewhere on the trip, and the tip of his scabbard came off, and his sword stabbed him in the thigh, same place that he stabbed the Apis bull. That's what the legend says. And that wound became infected, and Cambyses dies shortly after that. But before he dies, he brings his leaders in, the people in the army, and says, okay, I got to tell you guys a secret, but nobody knows this except you. I killed Bardiya Smerdis before we left to go conquer Egypt. He said he had a dream that Bardiya was going to overthrow him if he left him alive, and so he kills him. But then actually, this other dream was that Bardiya came back from the death and was taking over his country. And so that's why they were on their way back. Then Cambyses dies. Now, Darius is Cambyses' lance bearer. It doesn't sound like a very big job, but it is someone that is right next to Cambyses, probably a military advisor. And so Darius continues this battle. Now, shift gears a little bit. Back in Susa, one of the noble families is Otanes, and he tells us he has a girl on the inside, someone who lives with Smerdis, Bardiya / Gaumata. And he goes to this girl, Fidine. She's the wife of Smerdis, and she says, hey, is Smerdis the same guy that he's always been? And she says, I've only known one Smerdis. And he goes, okay, here's what you got to do, because Cyrus, when he was alive, had cut off the ears of Gaumata. And so if this guy who claims to be Smerdis has no ears, this is Gaumata, and we got to take him out. And she goes, you know what? Scary situation, but I'll take care of it, and I'll find out for you. She comes back and says, no ears. This is Gaumata. And so Otanes comes back and finds 6 other nobles to help him out. Darius is one of them, or Darius. Now, the attack on Gaumata is a superhero Avenger movie, because the 7 nobles, they come in and they walk through the guards. The guards don't do anything about it, but then they come up to the Magian. And the Magian know that they are being invaded by these nobles. And there's only like 7 guys, so it shouldn't be tough. So there's a fight that starts off, the nobles against the Magian. Now Gaumata sees the fight. He takes off, runs away. Darius and another noble chase after him. The other noble tackles Gaumata. They wrestle around. They are in a dark room. They can't see. And the other noble tells Darius, stab him. And Darius goes, I can't. I don't know which one's who. You guys are the same person. You're wrestling around. I can't see. And he goes, stab him anyhow. Stab me if you have to. Just stab him. And so Darius takes his spear and he stabs and he kills Gaumata. And so Gaumata has now been dethroned. Now, problem is there isn't an heir to Bardiya or Cambyses. Neither of them had kids. And so the line of Cyrus has been wiped out. So the 7 nobles get together and they figure out, that I don't know how exactly they do it, but they figure out who will be the next leader. And Darius is declared the next king. Now, this wall here, at the very start of the slide, I had the name of the stone. This stone is like 400 feet across. In 3 languages, it tells you the story I just told you, especially the part about where Darius, the last 2 slides, where Darius returns after Cambyses has died and takes over the throne. This picture, it shows Darius standing on Gaumata, and then there are 7 fake kings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fake kings who revolt against Darius after he kills Gaumata. And he and the other 7 nobles go off and conquer them and consolidate the empire again under the kingship of Darius. Now, Darius becomes known as Darius the Great, and he rules from 522 BCE to 485. He does expand the empire. You can see he expands over into the Egyptian, probably under Cambyses, but also over toward Greece. And Greece is going to be a big story we look at coming up. Now, Darius is also known for not only consolidating the empire, but making it more efficient, making sure that this empire is going to last well beyond his years. And it does. Okay. It isn't until 150 years after this that Alexander the Great comes out, and he faces off against a guy, I think, named Darius III, and he takes over the Persian Empire. But that's going to be a different story, different time. Okay, your question. What did the stories of the last couple of days tell you about the culture of the Persian Empire? Okay, a lot of these were very fantastical stories. What does that tell us about them? What does it tell us about Darius? What does it tell us about Cambyses, the Egyptians, the anything you want to say? Just the general culture. Okay, what do they believe? What do they know? Can't wait to talk to you guys. Hope you're having a good time. See you soon.